All right. Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to talk for like 15 minutes and then you're going to give me feedback.
Okay, perfect.
So, hi, I'm Lawrence with Spark Mindset. Spark Mindset is a social enterprise that is looking to end poverty and violence in low economic communities through creating a diverse and inclusive environment in corporations, high schools, education, and local communities. One of the ways that we're going to tackle poverty in high school with high school students is creating a virtual reality educational gaming platform that teaches cybersecurity, coding, and entrepreneurship, primarily to 9th and 10th graders in underserved communities. So one of the models that we're going to use to put this together is an adaptive learning model. And we chose this because it allows for students to pick up information faster and progress through the program at a higher quality compared to traditional teaching. It also allows the students to learn different ways and adapt to those learning styles that our program will create. It engages the students. And so one of the most important things that we want to do is have students engaged. If they're engaged, they will stay involved. And so we want them to be very active in this program. And it allows teachers to get the data from our dashboard and the data that we'll be collecting throughout the program. It allows teachers to have access to the data, so teachers will have real-time data on where the students where they're at in the program.
Cool.
The other model that we're using is computational thinking. So we're going to take big classes like cybersecurity and coding and entrepreneurship, and then we're going to decompose that into smaller bits. We're going to create a pattern to be able to teach these programs. So, and then we're going to create steps, and those steps will be the levels that the students have to progress to go through the game. So what this allows us to do is, as technology and research changes, we can check out models and import new models. We can be more proactive with their learning instead of reactive, because we can adapt to future needs based on using this model.
Gotcha.
So, and we can do these things in different scenarios. So we can provide students with different ways to learn these models. So if one way is not working, we can change that portion of it and import a new model. So we're teaming up with Microsoft to use their mixed reality software and hardware. So this is a new virtual reality where it kind of like scans the room, and it's a combination of augmented reality and virtual reality in one. So,
cool.
And the reason we chose virtual reality because it increases student engagement.
Right.
Studies also show that students learn more when they're immersed in actually doing the work than someone sitting there and teaching them work. So by being in the virtual reality, they are allowed to do the work. So they can actually perform cybersecurity and perform coding, and they're retaining that information based on, which I already know you know this, but based on the cognitive skills that they're developing while they're immersed in the game. So, but it also eliminates some barriers. So let's say if you had a disability or you're struggling with autism. So being in this environment allows you to be just like everyone else. So it allows you to learn without having the barriers of the physical limitations or the mental limitations. So it actually helps that person overcome those challenges as well. So we decided to choose these 3 tracks: cybersecurity, coding, and entrepreneurship. Because according
Mm-hmm.
to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there will be 3.5 million unfulfilled cybersecurity jobs in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
There will be
Wow.
an increase of 1.4 million jobs in software developers and computer science in 2020. And by 2020, 40% of the workforce will be either independent contractors or entrepreneurs or solopreneurs. And so having these skills will help these students with jobs in the future. So I'm just going to take you through the cybersecurity track. And so a picture, Mary, and Mary doesn't have any skills in computing or cybersecurity. So Mary puts on the headsets, and Mary picks the beginning level of a class. So she'll tap into the class, it brings her into the class. So Mary is playing the game, and as she's playing, she's going up levels, she's learning things like data analytics, computer science. At the end of a year, Mary is ready for an entry-level cybersecurity job, and she's ready to take the Security Plus certification that goes with that.
Okay. Cool.
So, and we're going to gamify it. So we want people to go up levels. Gamifying provides a level of achievement for the students. Gamification also makes sure that students don't want to fall behind. It gives them the critical thinking skills that's needed to figure out how to maneuver in this game. It gives them that how to overcome adversity by gamifying. And it also encourages behavior that says, I can think on like adaptive thinking and critical and learning. So it gives them the ability to think while they're involved. So that's a key skill that students will need in the future. So I talked about leveling up. So as students level up, they will gain the skills at that level. So let's say data science was level 1. So once they're finished level 1, they will take an assessment initially. This shows that they have the ability to go to the next level. In the future, we're going to make it where they solve a puzzle or solve a portion of data analysis that shows them that they have that skill. We're also at each level, they will do some kind of training in math and science, the Common Core skills, because we want to make sure that teachers and the school systems are not suffering from a federal and state standard level from them to being involved in this program.
Right.
So students will earn badges, and how students earn badges is they have to help fellow students. So they cannot earn badges by something that they do on their own. They have to help another student. So we already know that students will have some difficulty in the game. And so how students help is they will do some text when there's a question, or they will provide a video or some kind of instructional way for that student to progress. This teaches collaboration skills, teamworking, and problem solving, not for them just solving problems for themselves, but solving problems for others as well.
Right.
So Mary will have a dashboard. So it will tell Mary how she's progressing through the game, what skills that she has, and what skills that she needs to gain as she's going through the game. So it's a real-time tracking of where Mary's at as she's in the game. So what this is good for is teachers and administrators can see that as well. So that the teacher immediately know if Mary's having problems, so she can intervene and say, ask Mary, she's reached out to us, another student to answer questions, or how can the teacher help Mary overcome the challenges that she's having.
Got it.
So we're going to also create a virtual community. So basically, we're going to have kids that's all over the country in our program. So it allows kids to interact with people from different backgrounds, whether it's socioeconomic, whether it's race, gender. So they get a chance to like talk with people that's different than they are. It provides them a support system. So, you know, they have that support system that can push them to go further. And they can like really build this community that's going to progress them forward. But it allows teachers to be in this environment to monitor, and then our team will make sure that it's safe. So the only way that you can get into the system is basically you have to have a school address or some kind of school login to get you in. So no one from the outside will be able to get into this platform.
Gotcha. Cool.
Another thing that we're going to do is we're teaching workforce development skills. So half of the time, the students will be in the virtual reality environment. The other half, they will be doing either working with the teachers or they will be doing workforce development. So we're working with USAA to provide their financial literacy training. We're going to teach them resume writing. We're going to teach things like, what else? Conflict resolution, how to conduct an interview. So the soft skills needed for them to be employed. So the goal is after the students finish our program, as early as 10th grade, that they can be able to get an internship with one of our partner organizations that we've been talking to. So what that does is the student, now a 10th grader or 11th grader, is in this program. They're interns. They're learning additional skills. When they graduate from high school, they can go work a job right away.
Cool.
And by doing that, you begin to break the cycles of poverty in that kid's life because he has a well-paying job.
Right. Totally.
So instead of teacher-directed classes, environments where teachers sit up in front of people and just lecture them, we're now creating learning directive environments where a teacher is asking students for open-ended questions. When they're in discussions, students are sharing what they've learned with the teacher and the other students. And the teachers can focus specifically on the students that are having problems instead of trying to teach the whole class. So the class that we're going through is self-directed, but the teacher is involved. So not only is the teacher learning, but the students are learning. They're creating this positive environment. The teachers get this sense of fulfillment because now they're working directly with the students, and we're making sure that in their program, a lot of the state and federal standards are taken care of. Another thing is we're also paying the teachers to be facilitators. And so this is another incentive for the teachers to take on this, another class, but also realizing that this class will be different but easier over time than what they're used to doing in the past.
Cool.
So with that, that's the end of my presentation. Let's share feedback.
Awesome. So there's only a couple questions that really come to mind for me, but can you flip back through the slides, a few slides? There, right there. Wait, keep going, past badging, the next one. That way, yeah, dashboard. Okay, cool. I just wanted to there's a lot on that slide, so I wanted to look at it a little bit.
Oh, but this is not this is just an example.
Okay, cool. But it's something similar where
yes,
basically it's connecting students and teachers, students and students, and then students and teachers to the knowledge base that the students will be acquiring and that the teachers are providing. Cool. So I guess my questions come, I'll ask you some about from the learning psychology perspective. and then some from like a community perspective. So just how will you make sure that students have access to this equipment? And because not everybody's got a VR headset or computers that can handle that kind of processing, or, you know, labs that are quiet, you know, rooms that they can work in. How will you get them this stuff?
So, there's the schools that we're working with already, where this is going to be an elective, and so the classroom is the equipment is going to be provided through our partnerships that we have with organizations and through grants that we are working on.
Cool. How will you get parents involved?
So far
communities.
Yeah, so far we've done focus groups. So a lot of what you've heard me go through, I got this from parents and teachers and students and focus groups. So like what I was thinking about 6 months ago, this doesn't look like based on all the feedback that's got. I think one of the things is the excitement of the kids. And so the kids will be excited. They'll go back, and we will encourage kids to have their parents ask those questions, have their parents come see what they're doing. I know that there's a piece that if we're educating these students like that, we're going to have to probably find some way to provide the same level of education to some of the parents because they may want it too. And there is a foundation that is looking into starting to meet the other needs that our program won't meet.
Cool. So what are the next steps, basically? What do you have to do now?
So right now, half of our curriculum would be done, not half, my fault, a fourth would be done on the 15th. And so everyone who's writing that is an expert at their field. We will provide that to the schools. So the schools get a fourth of it. The students get to evaluate it. And then they give us feedback, and then we will begin to write the next half. We are in talks.
Gotcha.
I'm in talks about getting funding to build a prototype for that will be sometime in March, where there'll be a few hours of the VR stuff for people to see and feel and touch. So I think those are the next steps. I have a team, so I'm like an accelerator. It's my job now to fundraise. So I've been learning a lot in this process, and the team will continue moving forward. We have a project, someone that's gonna like volunteering to run the project right now. So
awesome, that's really cool. How do you see how do you see students connecting in the virtual environment? Because I feel like actually for younger students, and maybe that's true for high school age students now, but I think it's completely natural to connect through games. But like, I don't know, do you think they'll connect similarly through virtual environments? Or what do students have to say? I'm just curious about what students have to say about engaging in virtual environments like that.
I mean, it's gonna still seem like they're connecting like they would through a game, like they're playing a game. So I think that's through the virtual reality portion, but we also understand they still need human interaction, and that's why they're only in there for half the time and not the whole entire time.
Right. Cool. I like it. I think this is a really good direction for you because it's in your world of IT, and it's like a very concrete approach to teaching some of these concepts. So like it's project based. So you're attaching the mindset skills to something to something real, to something they can actually take out and use in the world. And I think that's a much better approach. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. I like it. Cool.
Any other feedback?
No, I'm really excited. I think you should, it sounds like you have the right partners and the right team and the right idea to make this move. So I think the thing is just how to keep the students engaged as they go through the process. Because if they're excited about it, everybody else will be too. So it's really just about providing good service to the students and making sure that they stay excited and engaged as they go through the platform and learn all these skills. Because there's some hard stuff in there. It's not easy content you'll be covering. So they really have to, it has to have a lot of, they have to be highly motivated, and they have to have support from one another, which you noted in your presentation. So you know that that's the case, but I think that's going to be a challenge, but I think you can totally do it. So,
yeah.
Cool.
One thing I forgot to mention is, so the schools are actually helping design the platform. So
Good.
the students were being involved in designing. So one of the mistakes that I made, I didn't really make a mistake, but when we wrote the grant, I talked to the DPS Imaginarium, and their first question was like, "Oh, you have all this stuff. Have you talked to students and teachers?" And I was like, "No."
Whoops.
So, which made me go back to the drawing board on some portions of my ideal, because I hadn't talked to students. I was going to have them immersed for an hour, found out students still wants to interact with their teachers. So there's a lot of data that I learned by talking to students and teachers and parents.
Cool.
Like, parents were the ones that said they didn't want an after school program, that they wanted something during the school day. So
yeah, because they're busy as it is. Like, they don't need to, yeah, totally. They don't need to make extra time or, have their kid away from home for extra hours. So that's cool. I like it.
All right.
How can I help?
So I think I will be reaching out more as we get further along. I think when we get into the data analytics portions, that I would love to pick your brain and see how we can get you involved.
Cool.
So you're brilliant, and I think in that area, you're probably one of the strongest people I know. And so that will be kind of awesome to see how we can get you involved.
Cool. I'm excited. I like it. Go forth and get funding.
Okay.